welcome again to another episode of the Real Estate Insights Conversations with Industry Leaders. And today I am super excited to have Wally Bressler with us. Wally is a renowned figure in the field of real estate and sales coaching. With over 25 years of experience in real estate, he has transitioned from a successful real estate agent / broker to a highly sought after coach. Bressler is the founder of the Trigger Sales System, a program designed to enhance sales skills, particularly in phone sales, and to address emotional blocks and reluctance in selling, which I think we all have to deal with. He has conducted more than 40,000 coaching calls and training sessions since 2021, demonstrating his extensive expertise in the field. Additionally, Wally Bressler is a best-selling author known for his book, Tragic Hero, Picking Up the Pieces, and is recognized for his contributions as a life and business coach, speaker, phone sales experience. So Wally, thank you for being here this morning. Yes. And welcome. I really appreciate you being willing to come on here and spend some time with me today.
Honored to be here. Thanks for making some time, or should I say, give me an opportunity to join you here today.
Well, this is great, and I'm super excited, and I think we'll do our best to just kind of keep things flowing. I've got some specific questions I'd like to ask, but we'll see where it goes. If we want to elaborate on some of these things, by all means, feel free. So,
all yours.
So let's start off with your career journey. So you've been in the business for a long time, quite as long as you, but I'm getting that feeling. I'm in my 20th year, and so I understand that the journey is a bit of a wild ride. Can you share your journey from being a real estate agent to becoming a renowned sales coach and author?
Yeah, wow. Okay, great. I graduated from college in 1990. It was the first Gulf War. We were in the midst of a double dip recession. So I think back then it was the second worst year to get a job since World War II. It was pretty bad. I was like, geez, what am I going to do? So I ended up, my mom worked at the local high school. She was a foreign language coordinator. So I got a job substitute teaching. Then I worked as a janitor, lived at home. And then I got a job in the mutual fund industry in 91. I did that for from 91 to 98. And in 98, I was like, I'm just sick of corporate America. And so I ended up getting my license in 98. Fortunately, I got connected with the right people and ended up selling 72 houses my first 14 months in the industry. And then I helped as a sales manager for the organization I was working for. And then, in 2001, I got the opportunity to start doing some training and coaching. And then ended up doing training and coaching full time since 2006. So it's been, like you said, it's been a wild ride. And, coaching and working with agents during the Great Recession was definitely a monstrous learning experience for me.
Yeah, I remember those days of the Great Recession. That's
about it.
Yeah, a lot of us needed a lot of help back then. So what inspired you to create the Trigger Sales System, and how does it differ from traditional sales methods?
I used to sit with my clients and we'd get on the phone and they would be like, hey, I go, how did your prospecting go this week? They're like, I didn't do any. I'm like, how come? They're like, well, I had all these other things to do. I said, yeah, but you have to prospect to continue growing your business. And we get on the phone again. I said, listen, I'm going to stop taking your money because you're not doing what I'm asking you to do. And your business isn't going to grow if you don't start making phone calls and doing what you need to do. So anyway, I went through some pretty traumatic stuff younger in life and kind of all came to a head in 2019, in doing work on myself to become the best version of myself that I could be. I started learning about what causes, low self-esteem, low self-worth, procrastination, perfectionism, because I suffered from all that. And I was able to connect it to people's either inability or lack of desire to get on the phone. One of my clients, Brian O'Neill, my first client, when I started working with him down in, he's in Greenville, South Carolina. He's actually with EXP. He's been an Icon agent 3 years in a row now, which is awesome for him. And it was interesting because I said, okay, and we put his plan together. He was all set, ready to go. I'm like, okay, time to make calls. He goes, no, I don't prospect. Hey, what do you mean you don't prospect? He goes, I don't like the phone. I'm like, nothing to like about it. All right. It's the phone. And so I'm like, I said, well, let's work on this. And I started working with him and giving him some strategies and helping him out. And then about 45 days later, he called me and says, hey, I just picked up a FSBO listing for $500,000. I'm like, oh. Like, where'd you get that? He says, I was prospecting. I said, what? He goes, yeah. And I'm picking up the phone. He says, the guy's got another house to sell too. I'm like, no kidding. And so I was like, wow. So I started formulating the program a little bit more specifically. And it was working. And so now I hold regular classes. It's an 8-week course, and basically takes people through what they need to do in order to overcome the challenges they're having that are preventing them from, picking up the phone and making a phone call, or advancing a call through an objection, or getting in front of a video camera, or getting paperwork signed, or a lot of people have trouble with asking for the order, and asking for money, negotiating fees. So it's all connected there. And it's really not sales training at all. I mean, the end of the course, the last session is on how to, be excellent on the phone and what it takes to, prospect and build a pipeline on the phone. But it has zero to do with sales and everything to do with becoming the person you need to be in order to make sales happen.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and I totally get it because even 20 years in the business, I still suffer from sales reluctance or call reluctance. I go to pick up the phone and I hear all the excuses in my head. Oh, it's lunchtime, so maybe it's not a good time to call, or maybe it's too early in the morning, and it's like, Paul, just shut up, make the calls. And when you get into that habit of making the calls, it actually feels good when you complete it and you get 20, 25, 30 calls done in a couple hours, and you're like, wow, okay, sense of accomplishment. I've had a few conversations, maybe set an appointment or two.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, you actually start looking forward to doing that the next day. So people really need that.
And I appreciate that distinction on your part. I've kind of learned, at least from I can see, there's two types of call reluctance. There's the not knowing what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what to say, kind of a syntax issue.
Mhm.
If you call enough and do what you need to do, if you're willing to get on the phone, it'll go away. But the call reluctance that we're referring to here is really emotionally based call reluctance, where, people aren't able to do what you're able to do, and they're not able to get back that it's too early, it's too late. They don't want to talk to me, that sort of that, self-defeating self-talk, and
Yeah.
feelings that go along with it. And so those are the folks that really need to dig deep and resolve the challenges that have been created in their life. And, it all relates to basically what happened in their life between the time they were born and their age of 12. I mean, you're mostly who you're going to be by 7, and your belief systems about who you are and what you can do pretty much cemented by the time you're 12. So
Yeah.
not that you can't change them, but by the age of 12, we're not given any tools on how to rearrange the thoughts and belief systems in our head, and to decide what to let in and not let in, and what to let out. So, and that's really where the rubber meets the road on that, though.
Yeah. Now, would you say that maybe this is one of the biggest challenges that agents are facing right now? I know we have a
Yep.
changing market, right? And
Mhm.
buyers and sellers are definitely a challenge. But I think, wouldn't you agree that maybe making the calls is actually the biggest challenge of everything that agents are facing?
Yeah. So statistically speaking, 80% of new salespeople have call reluctance. 40% of existing, like seasoned salespeople, have call reluctance. And 59% of all salespeople have a very strong need to be liked, which prevents them from prospecting for that fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted, fear of not being approved. Okay. And look, here's the thing. It's cool to want to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? Our society started in tribes and groups. Biblically speaking, God wants us to get together and with each other and worship him. That's perfectly normal to want to be liked. Okay. And, but when it gets to a need to be liked, where your value and who you see yourself as, and what you accomplish, and what you bring to the table, when it's deeply rooted in that, and there's a chance that somebody could, not accept that from you, or not think it's good, or reject you, that's when people get off the train. So roughly 2 out of 3 people, a little less than 2 out of every 3 salespeople, has some sort of reluctance as it relates to sales that's impeding their progress.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I see it all the time, and I hear all the excuses, and that's why I recognize my own excuses, and I think that's what people I feel like people just need to be more aware, right? So that they can recognize when they're coming up with these excuses, and then they can nip that in the bud and say, okay, you know what, just make the call.